Another person. So you guys make it back. The ship gets you back to land. Tommy eventually gets casualty evacuation to the Philippines.
Yeah, I got on the radio, and Ryan McCumbee, and we MedEvac Tommy off by helicopter to Da Nang, and Ryan flew down on a helicopter, and he was waiting in Da Nang, and Ryan stayed with Tommy. Then they sent a 141 because we knew we were going to get our POWs, Admiral Stockdale, Bud Day, people like that, out, and so all the top doctors, neurosurgeons, all those guys were over there because they had already pulled everybody out of Vietnam with the exception of just general practitioners. And by the time we got Tommy through the whole operation, got him to the Philippines, to Clark's, it was almost 19 hours long, the medevac. Then his operation lasted 19 and a half hours, his first operation. And they stayed in touch with us. But I stayed on board the Newport News till the following day to take care of the Vietnamese. Spoke English, but I spoke pretty. I mean, I was fluent in Vietnamese, and so I stayed on there until we got them all patched up.
This is the doctor talking, Major Walter Grand. He's the neurosurgeon that they had to get this guy get Tommy Norris to in the Philippines.
Correct.
And he says, when he arrived, we took him directly into the OR. At the time, general military battlefield protocol held that the patient needed to be or should be conscious going into surgery. And I was surprised that someone with this serious of a head wound would be conscious and conversant. Fortunately, he was. He was still dressed in his operational gear, which were blue jeans and a black T-shirt of some kind. As I was conducting my initial examination, I remember that he was conscious, but just barely. I could tell he'd been through a lot. Then he seemed to come more alert and ask, "Sir, can you tell me about my men? I know we got them all off the beach, but can you tell me if they're okay?"
To the end.
Yeah. It's the teams. Now, they get done with the surgery that you're talking about, incredibly long surgery, and here's the doctor talking again. On removing the bandage and inspecting the wound, we talked, and I sensed that he didn't know that he no longer had a left eye. I was reluctant to tell him, as he had endured a great deal, but he was a pretty tough fellow, so I told him that we were unable to save his left eye. He thought about it for a second and then said, "Do you think they'll kick me out of the Navy because of that?" I said that I couldn't really answer that, but I took it as a good sign that he still wanted to be a SEAL.
And the funny part, it wasn't the eye as much as it was the loss of the front lobal part of his brain. That was...
I actually don't think that's funny, sir.
I don't think it is either.
So when you say that, what do you mean? That what was the... you're saying, hey, they're not going to kick you out of it even though you've lost part of your brain?
Yeah, well, I think that was one of the... we talked about it because he wanted to stay in. He was already chosen to be a lieutenant commander at that period of time, and of course, you on medical hold, that goes to stop. And but Tommy would have been a great admiral. I mean, he really would have done us proud, as of Ryan McCumbee too, and a few other guys that didn't go up through the ranks of to the top. But we've had some great leadership up there, and Eric Olson, Bill McCraven, Joe Kernan, McGuire, Burt Callan. I mean, the way you look at, I watched the teams grow from this. 04 was as high as you could go and still be in the teams, and now I looked at the thing, and the guys they just amaze me every time I look and read something or something. How much I'm so proud of each one of these young men and who serve this great nation of ours.
Yeah, it's amazing. Again, that the attitude is just constant. And, I had this with my guys that got wounded. None of them wanted to go home. They wanted to just stay.
Yeah.
They didn't care if they just had to sit and stay and watch. They wanted to stay with us in Iraq.
Well, I mean, how proud all you guys were when we were there with Admiral Olson and you guys were receiving your awards in the Pentagon, after Mikey Mansour. And you look at the guys and Job and those guys that, of course, he lost his life in a very basic operation. And but even though when they had the diversity against them, they continued to strive to make their life better.
Well, Ryan Job's the classic example. When he was blind in both eyes, he was telling me he was already back in America, and he's on the phone telling me, "Can I please come back to Iraq? I want to be with the platoon."
Yeah, yeah. And he goes in and gets his college education and has a beautiful family, and I remember there when I was able to put the Purple Heart on him. And Tommy and I were there with Admiral Olson, of course.
Was that at Bethesda? Where was that? Was that in the hospital?
No. He was at the Pentagon.
Oh, okay.
Remember
at the award ceremony, the big
award
award ceremony.
that we had for you guys, the big ones, and then we went down and he gave other from the Team 3. We gave Colin Green was there. Admiral Green was there.
It was awesome. It was the Task Unit Bruiser award ceremony at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
We were all pretty surprised to be there doing that.
Yeah.
But Ryan Job, so you guys put the Purple Heart on him there.
Yeah.
Got it.
So.
Yeah, he's had the same attitude that you hear from Tommy Norris.
Yeah.
Hey, can I stay in?
Can I be there? Be with the guys.